Hi, this is Jeff, and this week I'm doing my first mother-daughter interview on the stage of Motor City Youth Theater, where I'll be talking with its director, Nancy Florkowski, and her daughter, Jenny Florkowski, who was a swing on the Broadway production of Wicked. This week we're talking about why children's theater is important, whether you grow up to be an actor or not, auditioning on Broadway, getting an agent in New York, and much, much more. And if it sounds a little different, it's because I'm on the stage at Motor City Youth Theater. So let's get to it.
I don't think people really thought we were serious about it, but that was 30 years ago.
And it was the coolest childhood to be involved in theater constantly. And you just go, oh, I hope they choose me. You have to remember, you're there to choose them as well.
I say, guys, if you can do Shakespeare, you can do anything.
Hello and welcome to Michigan Theater and Film Talk, the show dedicated to highlighting theater and film professionals, amateurs, and everything in between from all over the state of Michigan. Hi, my name is Jeff Tamakis. Before we begin, I want to remind you that you can find us on Facebook by going to Michigan Michael Chekhov Classes-M2C2 and liking my page, and you'll be the first to be notified of videos and what we're up to and everything else. Also, if you are a YouTube person, you can go to YouTube and find us at Michigan Chekhov. That's 2 words, Chekhov, and go ahead and click that subscribe and share this video with everyone you know, have known, and will know for the rest of your life. Additionally, we are on Apple and Android podcasts, so go ahead and like our podcast, subscribe, and write us a review if you can. That would really help us out a lot. Okay, I got all that stuff out of the way, and now I'd like to introduce you to my first family interview, which is very exciting. This is Nancy Florkowski and her daughter Jenny Florkowski, both of which are theater people. Nancy Florkowski runs Motor City Youth Theater, and can you tell us a little bit about that theater?
Okay, we started Motor City Youth Theater in 1990. It was part of my master's degree in children's theater at Eastern Michigan, and my husband, Fred, and I did some research. We talked to people at Flint Youth Theater to get some great ideas. I don't think people really thought we were serious about it, but that was 30 years ago, and we're still going very strong.
So you are serious about it?
We're working
After 30 years?
We're getting serious.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. So that's fantastic. And Jenny,
Yes.
so tell me a little bit about what you're up to right now.
So I'm currently in the Broadway company of Wicked the Musical.
Fantastic.
Thank you. I live in New York City, and I've been in and out of Wicked for 7 years now. I've toured with both national tours and the Broadway company.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Wow. So we do have Michigan people all over the place. I would like to see, opportunities for you to work here at some point.
Yeah.
But Broadway calls. I think. So tell me again about Motor City Youth Theater.
Okay.
And what were your initial? You say that people didn't take you seriously.
No, they didn't. The reason I do Motor City Youth Theater is so that kids have the opportunity to do theater where I didn't at all. I always wanted to do theater. When I was 5, I thought I was on TV all the time. Because on Father Knows Best, Kathy was always on TV, and I thought, oh, so am I. Because it was so real to me, that show. And I always wanted to do theater. I was always afraid to do theater. And it didn't really start until at college. I was graduated from college.
What was your major in college?
Early elementary education.
Okay.
I used to teach my little brother and his friends in our garage when I was in the 4th grade. I was a teacher my whole life, but I wanted to act, and so they kind of conflicted, but they worked together. They really work together.
I feel like teachers are performers.
Oh yes, they are. They are so much performers. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be on when you're working with
100%.
kids.
You never can take a break from acting when you're a teacher.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I did. My first master's degree was in special education, and so I started a program called the SSPP, SRPMI, which was St. Peter and Paul Social Recreation Program for the mentally impaired, but you can't use that term anymore, but that's what it was. My true love is working with kids with special needs because I did that for many years in South Redford when I taught, but then our elementary principal was invited to be the principal at the middle school. They turned into, this is when they had money, and so they wanted all these great classes for kids, you know, like cooking and shop and theater. So I was the theater teacher, and because of that, I thought, I think I'm gonna get some credentials, you know? So that's when I went to Eastern and got the master's degree in children's theater.
Wow, so why did you feel like you needed the credentials in order to do it?
Because I'm insecure still at my old age. I am still insecure, yeah, we all are. And I think actors are more insecure than anybody. Definitely, right?
I think what we have is a career in which rejection is a natural part of it. Like getting the job is the gravy.
Yes.
But the job is auditioning and getting rejected, and that can lead to a lot of insecurity.
Right.
You know?
And then you're so hard on yourself when you're on stage. You know, we are our worst critics.
Well, God forbid, you know, I edit myself once a week, so I know how critical one can be about themselves.
Yeah. So anyway, we in that program, the special needs program, a bunch of us who volunteered in that program went down to the art fair in Ann Arbor, and we saw on the pylons or pillar, whatever those are, those big tall things, said we need students because this young girl was doing her master's degree in theater. So we all signed up and we took this class. When we finished the class, we thought, hey, we're actors now, because we took a 5-week class. But then after that, I did start auditioning for community theater, dinner theater, and I did quite a bit. But it was always the teaching thing that was in the back of my head.
So this is your way of marrying these two passions that you've had in your life, which is educating and forming young minds, and exploring and doing great theater, right?
Right, and letting kids play because that's what they do. They're so natural on stage.
Well, theater is called a play.
Right, it is a play. That's where it comes from. But I was telling Jenny, you know, any play we do, Sister Act. We're doing Sister Act Junior with the kids. We have 6th grade thugs. They're so cute. They're so cute. And we never have a table reading with kids. We don't have a read-through. We just say, bring your scripts and we'll walk through it. And I just let them do whatever they feel like they should do. You know, we designate doors and things like that. And then we keep rehearsing, we fine-tune it. Once they're off script, then we start getting into character building more and more. So it's just so much fun with kids. Well,
I mean, this is interesting because I'm curious to know, how does a rehearsal process go with kids? With kids.
We start at 10 in the morning, we finish at 3.
Okay.
It's all day.
All day on the weekends?
They don't want to go home. Saturdays.
Saturdays. Okay.
For Shakespeare, we will do Saturdays in the beginning, and then we have like 2 full weeks, like summer camp, but it's just the Shakespeare kids.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, we do everything with it. You know, like they analyze the play. You know, they do each scene. We make lists of all the scenes. And then we do character study, and I tell them they're educating their parents to Shakespeare because they don't know it. Most of them don't know. They're not well versed in Shakespeare, but the kids study it so much that they know what they're saying. So I said, your job is to help everybody out there know what you're saying and get the meaning.
Wow.
We take out all the dirty stuff.
So that's interesting, you know, because Shakespeare is very dirty.
Yeah.
And I mean, the opening scene of Romeo and Juliet is really about private parts. And but I mean, are there any things that you kind of leave in because you're like, the kids aren't going to get this, or?
Well, we use No Fear Shakespeare,
so
we find out everything. And don't read the right page for this one. And I wouldn't say we keep it in because of that. I translate things.
Okay, so they know exactly what they're saying from the very beginning.
Well, I mean, it takes
100
hours is how much we put into it.
Okay.
Yeah, Shakespeare's always 100 hours at least.
And how much for a musical? How many hours for a musical?
Okay, Sister Act is different. We started in January. Our show doesn't go up till June. I want to take our time so we can play at the same time and let them develop slowly and not just, here's your book, learn this and you're on next week. You know, it's just, kids can't work like that. They need to develop the feeling, the character. And every week they discover new things with this.
Hi, just a quick interruption to tell you that we are offering an 8-week evening class on Sundays beginning March 22nd, 2020 in Ferndale, Michigan. This class will teach you some basic techniques that will streamline your acting process, amplify your acting choices, and make your work easier for you and more dynamic for your audience. Classes are a steal at $150, so to sign up or for more information, go to www.michiganchekhov.com. See you guys later. Jenny, what's your perspective about all this? You were one of those kids, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in the youth theater from, I think I was 7 when we started.
When we started, Jenny and like 3 other kids were our first students.
Yeah.
And they're all in theater today.
Up until my senior year of high school, this was our home. This is where we were every weekend during the weekdays. My brother as well. So. Yeah.
And your brother's in theater as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. And they became teachers in our program.
Yeah.
Because
we would teach.
not everybody can. I mean, you just have to have this certain thing where you can teach other kids.
Oh,
and
it's
they
in
will
her
listen
blood,
to you.
apparently.
Yeah,
Cool.
right. And they'll respect what you're telling them. Yeah.
And it was the coolest childhood to be involved in theater constantly. We had this core group of friends who just, we're still all friends today, and we were here all the time, and writing our own plays, doing original pieces, working on Shakespeare all the time. Was talking
And
about.
how old were you when you did your first Shakespeare?
That was the Romeo and Juliet silly one.
10 maybe?
Maybe.
10 years old.
I was the nurse. It was
You
really
were the
we made
nurse
it
at 10.
funny.
Oh, that was the
It was
cutest
hilarious.
nurse.
It was
I can just see it.
hilarious.
10 or 12 maybe?
About, yeah. Maybe middle school? Early middle school.
That was a long
I don't know.
So by the time you got to high school, when a lot of kids are reading Shakespeare for the very first time, you were like, oh yeah, I can tell you all about Shakespeare.
Not quite.
No?
No. Just I had
The funny aspects of it, like the
Yeah,
Hamlet, the 50-minute, they did the 50-minute Hamlet.
That was fun.
That-
But I had a good grasp on it in order to be able to understand in my English classes and my theater intern classes in high school.
Can you think of the moment where you're like, okay, I'm buckling in, this is going to be my life?
Quite honestly, it just was, it felt like the family business.
It was just there.
So I don't know, I don't think I had that moment because it just was always, I always knew.
They were in the play.
That it was.
Sorry.
It's okay. I always.
It's all right. I'm interviewing both of you. You're cool. You're cool.
I just knew it was what I wanted to do. I remember I was so little, and people would be like, "Oh, so you want to be on Broadway?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be on Broadway." They're like, "Oh, wow, you're confident." I said, "No, I'm going to work my butt off until I get there. I'm going to work as hard as I can." And it was so. The reason I say that is it was just a goal from the time that I was very little. That I didn't really even know what Broadway was. I just knew that it was in New York, and that was the one of the it was like the Olympics of theater. You know, that's what you work your entire life to get to. So I made that my goal, and I worked really hard there.
So tell me about this process. How did you? What did you go to school for acting?
I did. So when I graduated high school, I moved to New York that fall, and I went to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in New York City.
AMDA. Okay.
It was a 2-year conservatory, and I graduated in 2 years, and I started auditioning, and I made connections in school with a lot of my dance teachers. I was really big in the dance department, and so I started my regional theater work a couple months out of college. I was very lucky with that too. It just kind of fell into place. And so then
you had a very long background. By the time you were, I'm assuming you were about 20, 21?
18 when I moved to New York.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 20 when I graduated.
When you started working. So by that point, how many years of theater had you been doing?
15, I guess. I started when I was 5. But New York I had so much training here but it's the training, and then you also need to know the business aspect of it.
Sure.
And so I only had 2 years of learning that business. It's such a different world. It's just more added on, more complicated things to learn. But so yeah, I felt very strong in my training. But then you have to learn who everybody is, and what dance classes to go to, and what acting classes to go to, and who to be seen by, and so I know that that's everywhere with the theater scene, the networking and everything.
Yeah, but it's a little different though in New York. How would a New York audition? Can you walk us through a typical New York audition?
I'm gonna get
okay.
purple.
We're gonna calm down, and we're gonna try to talk through a typical New York audition.
So it depends. There are so many different types of auditions. If I get called in, if I get an appointment from my agents for a new Broadway show, for instance, I'll be sent sides in a song usually, or maybe many sides and many songs. And sometimes you get like a full week to learn all this material. Sometimes they want you in 2 days. It just depends. So you learn all this material.
Full week is still short time to learn.
I guess in New York, that's a very luxurious amount of time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's because sometimes they'll be like, we need you in tomorrow, and they always say you can't walk into the room with the excuse of I just got this material yesterday, because everyone did. So a week is actually like, oh phew, I have a whole week to work on this. I can get my vocal coach to help me with the songs, and
I can sleep. I can.
I can let it sink in. So but I'll start learning it immediately, just because you just want to have it. You want to be able to look at it in your sleep. So when you go in and the nerves take over, then you can still use all the work that you've put into preparing for the audition. So the day of, you go in, you have a time slot, and you walk in, and behind the table, you usually have, if it's a musical, you'll have the music director, casting director. Sometimes the director will be there. It depends how far in the process you are. And usually a producer, a couple other, maybe the producer's wife, someone who wants to come and watch the audition. Sometimes you walk in the room, there are like 20 people behind the table.
It's a very long table.
Yes. They're like, who are all these people? And so you'll get to, at the nice auditions, they'll let you do all the material that you prepared. Sometimes you walk in and they have you do 2 lines of it, and they say, okay, great, thank you, and you leave and you haven't done any of it. But you usually get to sing. You'll come in with your own song to sing. So that's an audition for like a singing, speaking role. I also, I dance a lot, so I go to a lot of dance calls, which is you get herded into a room with 50 women, you learn the combination in 20 minutes, and in 20 minutes you're 4 at a time dancing in front of everybody, which is the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
I would much rather go in singly with the singing.
What's the atmosphere like of an audition like that?
It can be pretty tense. Women tend to put on a smiley face, but there's a lot of tension. It's just nerves. Everyone's nervous, and the older I get, the more I'll walk into those rooms and be like, nobody's mean. Everybody's just trying to survive this audition. When I was younger, I thought, girls can be a little negative, but it's just nerves. It's all insecurity. So you have to get past that, and once you can see that and realize that we're all here for the same reason, and we're all working our butts off, and not everyone will be cast, then you can usually calm down a little bit and try to enjoy the process, because it's fun to walk in and learn a combination really quickly. As long as you can take that fear factor out of
for
it.
yourself.
We look at it as like, everyone says, oh, it's like a free dance class. Like instead of spending $25 to take a dance class, I can go to an audition and learn the same thing. So it's exciting, and it's very scary all at the same time. And then in those dance auditions, they'll say, everyone will finish, and they'll say, okay, great, go in the other room. We're going to talk about you all. or you stay in the room and they're sitting there talking about you. They're like, talk amongst yourselves, and everyone's like, like looking,
ears
over,
open,
like trying to get, trying to get the best angle. And then right there, they'll usually say, okay, these are the women that we would like to stay to either learn more dance combinations, or we want to hear you sing now. And they'll just go through the headshots and read off your name.
What's the most number of auditions you've gone on in 1 week?
Probably 15. We used to do maybe 10. 5 days a week. You would start early in the morning. You'd go to one dance call. You get cut. You go, oh, okay, we still have time to make it to the afternoon call of this other show. So we don't, run over there. Like, you got your gaggle of friends who are like, we all got cut. Let's go. Let's move on. So maybe 10 on the busiest week. You might do 2 a day. But I would say on average, I was probably, when I wasn't lucky enough to be in Wicked a lot, I was hustling, and probably 5 to 10 a week. In the busy season, summertime slows down, and that's like, oh, 1 a day, it's a breeze. And those are all open calls that anyone can go to. With my agents now, I can go to those open calls, but then I also have these appointments where they'll say, you have this time slot on this day, and then it's like a breeze to actually know what time you're going to be seen and be prepared for it.
So you have a theatrical agent in New York?
I do, yes.
How did you obtain this agent?
When I was on the national tour of Wicked, the casting director of that show helped me get my foot in the door with about 5 different agents in New York.
And these are agents that specifically cast for theater?
So there are 2, there used to be 2 separate types of agents, like film and television and legit. And legit was the theater aspect of it. Now, because film and television and theater kind of all have melded together, which is very exciting for performers. It used to be you either did film and television or you did musical theater and plays. And now people are crossing over, like Broadway actors are in movies and movie actors are now on Broadway. So now our agents are kind of melding all together. So I go in, my theater agent also gets me appointments for TV shows as well, commercials here and there. So they kind of do everything now, which is nice.
Yeah.
You don't have to look for different agents. You'd have like 2 different agents, and then a commercial agent for if you were into that. So it's all in one house now. But so the casting director helped me get my foot in the door with these agents. I had to go and audition for all of them, and this one particular agency I really, really loved. It's run by all women, and they're like my aunties. They're the most wonderful women, and so I just felt after interviewing with them, because we're always reminded that an agent is working for you, and we go to these agent auditions, I guess you would say, or interviews, and you just go, oh, I hope they choose me. And you have to remember, you're there to choose them as well, because they're the ones who are going to be getting you these auditions.
It's a partnership.
Yeah, so you have to find a partnership that you really feel comfortable with.
Sure.
So that's how I found my agents, and I've been with them for 5 years now, and I love them. They're great, and I feel I trust them, and they get me into really great appointments. So
Nancy, I want to get back to you a little bit and give Jenny a break.
Have some coffee.
How do you feel about all this, about Jenny working in New York?
We miss her a
Yeah.
lot. I would like to talk as a mother.
Okay, sure.
Because there are people out there who have children who are doing this, not just themselves. When Jenny hit high school, is it okay if I mention DSA? Jenny went to the Detroit High School for the Fine Performing Arts. And so did Jody. Actually, he was in the first graduating class of that school. And it was housed in Wilbur Wright School, the only high school in Detroit without a stage. And it was the Performing Arts School. But now they're housed right with the orchestra hall. Right? It's connected. It's a beautiful building.
Yeah, I've seen it.
But Jenny's life in high school would consist of, I taught till, I was at school till 3, 4 o'clock. I'd go downtown, pick her up from there, bring her into the suburbs for her voice lesson, and then take her back for her dance classes, which were every night of the week from 5 to 10? 5 to 10. Because there was an awesome dance company called Company. Freedom Dance Company. And it was started by 2 of her teachers, right, from DSA. Yeah. So she danced and danced and danced all the time. And kids forget birthday parties, forget sleepovers, because she didn't do those things. Or if she went to a sleepover, she got up at 7 in the morning because she had to go somewhere else where the kids were having pancakes, you know? And so she would leave. If kids are serious, like my kids, you know, they might want to do it, they might not want to do it. They love being here. My friend Tony and I work together. We both have special ed background. We taught together in the same district. And our goal is to create human beings. That happens along the way. That's cool too.
What do you mean by
it's teamwork? It's like playing on a team. They work together. They have to give things up to be here. They respect each other. Once auditions are over, it's great. I hate auditioning kids. You know, in our youth theater, everybody's welcome as long as we have room on the stage. If they don't audition to get in, they're in. If they want to be in, they register. They sign up. Their parents register them. They're in. Then we have an audition. It's a formality. And some kids are terrified, so we sing with them. The kids sing with each other. It's really just to place them within the production.
How important do you think the audition is for your kids? I mean, what do you
them,
think they get out of it?
Okay, it's a learning process, and then they feel more secure if they go out there to audition. Because I said, not everybody's as nice as Tony and I. We're nurturing. We're here to nurture them. I mean, they drink hot chocolate. We have pizza. I mean, it's like it's like living at home. And this is their home away from home, and they love it. And they feel secure being with each other. And with us, we yell at them when they're bad, whatever. But what they get out of this, I think, is such self-concept. You know, we have kids who come in, like, terrified. And one of our girls in Sister Act is, like, wild and crazy. We said, where did this come from? When, you know? And it develops because they gain confidence. Also, the kids who do Shakespeare get the most. They really do, because that is hard work. And if they give up everything to do that, I just say, guys, if you can do Shakespeare, you can do anything.
Sure.
I mean, like, Sister Act's a piece of cake. They're all dancing and singing together.
They're both heightened language in their own way.
True,
right?
true. Yeah. So that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
30 years. 30 years.
30 years. So some of the kids that you have directed, have they brought some of their kids to you?
We do have children of, yeah. Not a lot, and it's because when I taught drama in the middle school, it wasn't a blow-off class for everybody. Some kids took it very seriously, but others are like, what can I do wrong in drama? And so they just had a ball. You know, we did improv. They did fairy tales, usually, and some Shakespeare, but they performed for the elementary kids down the block, so they would come and see them. And so it wasn't like, oh, we're doing baby plays. It's, no, you better do a good job in this baby play, because you're performing it for other kids, so you better be believable. So I'm friends with so many of the kids on Facebook that I worked with in school. They're like 40 years old now. And they got a lot out of it, but I think they thought that wasn't real. And so I think, or they're too busy to bring their kids to this. If they're not in theater here, they're usually not in theater anywhere else. It's not like they didn't come here, they went somewhere else. It's like they get into sports or whatever. And theater consumes your life, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, I'm friends with all of them. They respect what I'm doing, and I just, you know, a handful. Because wherever I am, that's where I have the most kids. When we were in Redford, everybody was from Redford.
Sure.
Now
I mean,
everybody's from Livonia. We were in Detroit. We were at Masonic Temple for 5 years. Everybody was, well, from everywhere. But a lot of kids were from Detroit. The Detroit kids won't come here to Livonia. You know, people want to tend to stay in their own neighborhoods or stay close to home. And so that's just the way it works out. But in a production, we might have kids from 10 different communities in one show.
And how big of a production is your typical production? How many kids?
Cash-wise, 20 is like about normal now. Shakespeare's around 20. Sister Act's closer to 30. It depends what the show is. You do Wizard of Oz, you might have 50 kids in it.
On this stage?
Yeah. And
this stage is not big enough to hold 50 kids.
Well, actually, we had 60 when we did Oliver. with adults and kids, 61, and Fred was going to kill me. He said, "Don't you ever do that again." And I mean, grown-ups take up more room than kids.
Yeah, I guess you
Yeah.
could fit 60. I mean,
We
I'm
did,
saying that
yeah.
this theater isn't like
Yeah.
massively big.
No.
Yeah.
It's really, it's a nice intimate size, and for intimate plays like Shakespeare, you don't want to do that with families. You want to do it in a very tight place like this, where they can hear what's going on, they can see what's going on. So it's perfect for that.
Have you ever done a show where it was just like, oh my gosh, this is a disaster? Oh my gosh.
Back when we started, we thought everything was a disaster until it, okay. Alice in
Why are you pointing
Wonderland.
to Jenny when you say that?
No, Alice in Wonderland. We were not ready, and there were like 60 kids in that production because that was in Redford. The night before the play opened, we all went on a field trip to see Wayne State's Alice in Wonderland. And the kids are like, "Oh, this is fun." And I'm like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do tomorrow?" But it worked. It worked out. It worked out. Now we don't do things like that. I mean, I work them until they're ready. But that was in the beginning when we just got our feet wet. We were just starting with this.
That's it for this half of my interview with Jenny and Nancy Florkowski. Tune in a couple of days where I'll talk with Jenny more about what a swing actually is, and I'll talk with Nancy about teaching kids Shakespeare and working with kids with disabilities, as well as a lot more. So I'll see you guys later.